Anyways, and I'm sorry to tell you, but I'm a very willful individual, and it's just not going to happen. So, suck it.
Ugh. Yeah, that's one way of putting it. Chantal is a very willful individual. It's her will to be 450 pounds.
Welcome back. Let's go again. Oh my god.
Hi everyone, it's me again. And today we're visiting one of my favorite topics on the internet, Foodie Beauty. And we're going to break down the entire timeline of the Paws Kuwait fiasco from someone who is unfortunately 6 years in, double PhD philosophy degree or something in Chantopolism. So let's lock in, ladies, besties, and like the 2 straight men that are going to watch this video. Before we completely get into it, links, source, ways to support the channel, all that kind of stuff, all down below, including YouTube members and Patreon. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. I love y'all dearly. Names on the screen. Thank you for all the birthday wishes. In my last video, I turned 25. Like 2 days ago, so that was something. So 3 parts of the video today. Quick intro to Foodie Beauty for those who are not familiar, because this type of video seems to have been quite popular lately, so if in case it extends outside of the Foodieverse, it's chaptered if you want to skip if you're well-versed in Chantal. Part 2, Paws Kuwait and commentary channels. And Part 3, Foodie Beauty's triumphant return to the internet. So let's get right into the news. Part 1, quick intro to Foodie Beauty. So this entire Paws Kuwait situation has really brought Foodie Beauty, Chantal Marie, XYZ, 10 other names to the mainstream. I list them here, so I'll keep that in my script. And the thing is that while I'm not popular enough to be on the mainstream, I do cover mainstream topics pretty often, so I just thought it would be worthwhile to give an intro to a lot of people who are not as remotely tapped in as I am on this. Some may say these degrees are in Foodie Studies from the University of Chantopolis, as I just mentioned. For those of you who don't know, Foodie Beauty has gone by a ton of different names on her channel as well. Chantal Marie, Chantal Soro. Chantal Soro is like her government name. Foodie Beauty, Everyday Miriam, Chantopolis, Big Beautiful Me. And then people call her, Zachary Michael calls her Flobby Bobby, Philly Booby, XYZ, other thing. And she has been uploading on YouTube for just shy of a decade. Something that is canon in Girl World, and if you do not know what it is, I literally have a video. I have a video where I go through on a PowerPoint what Girl World is, who all the characters are, including the reaction channels. Typically, when a large event changes, they tend to call these types of things seasons or eras. So Amberlynn, Reed, and Chantal, who are typically referred to as like the front runners of Girl World, they both have something very important in common, which is that they do not really function outside of chasing a relationship. So typically, the main pillar that defines a season, an era, an arc is the partner or person that they're with or chasing, in Chantal's case sometimes, at a given time. For Foodie Beauty, the first arc that we knew of was the BB era, when she was in a relationship with a guy that she called BB, which is short for Habibi, an Arabic term of endearment, to my understanding. I'm 90% sure his actual name is Milan. She's said his normal name more recently, I guess because Salah did not like her calling somebody Habibi. So they dated for about 8 years to what I could find. Just shy. That, if I'm correct, so like 7, because she'd always talk about she cheated at 7 years. I just don't remember how long they lasted after that. So it's like 7 or 8 years. Then in 2020, they broke up, and Foodie Beauty made a video announcing this breakup. A lot of what you'll learn too with Foodie Beauty is that she just sneaky deletes everything. There are lots of reaction channels that have reacted to the breakup video, that retro reacted, a lot of clip channels that clip to parts of it. You can find it, it's not that hard. After this, as in the end of the relationship with BB, Chantal moved into a townhouse with her ex-fiance, Pete, who is also a lifelong friend of Chantal's. They have been platonic friends for decades now, I'd imagine, or at least 10 years, because there's an overlap between the relationship with BB and Pete. Pete is actually a nickname given to him by Chantal. His name's actually Jamie, which apparently Pete is like for pizza or something. So they lived in this townhouse shortly after the breakup with BB in 2020. And lived in that townhouse until the end of 2022. This era was one where Chantal was hitting the dating apps hard. The longest situationship, for lack of a better term, was with someone named Natter, and I'm only saying that name one time, because if I talk about him too much, he's going to falsely privacy strike my video. Very long story short, with Schmatter Schmashmami, Chantel and co. may have found themselves dabbling in some legal and illegal mind-altering substances, which some have in the community have referred to this era as Crackhead Olympics. It was not an era named after the man specifically because of the on and off nature of that relationship. Now, think about how that was referred to. That should give you somewhat of a clue of the shenanigans that were occurring at this given time. Some of the most, like, thing is when I say that I'm tapped in, right? Some of the most iconic things that have, and like, people in my real life, like, I don't talk, like, people ask me about YouTube quite often, like, in my personal life or my job or whatever, and I don't talk about it because I've said this before, been saying this for years. I'm not that crazy about this whole thing, except Chantel Foodie Beauty. If you know me, you're hearing about Foodie Beauty sometimes, okay? Some of the most iconic things that have ever happened on the history of the internet, in my opinion, occurred in this era. Streams, and I have a video called, I think it's called Canadian Medicines Foodie Beauty or something like that. I was going to try to do this as a series, but they just performed so badly that I never got back to them. I talk about the stream that is now referred to as the CPAP rescue, and there's actually a part where on screen I'm translating what the Gatineau police are saying in French. So you got the CPAP rescue, you got the Cuba Rage. The Cuba Rage was Chantel. So okay, hold on. CPAP rescue was Chantel left the CPAP. She has a CPAP, she has sleep apnea. Did I mention she's like 400 pounds? If you don't know, yeah. Anyway, as a whole other part to this whole thing, but Chantel has sleep apnea, so she left her CPAP. Most people say it was on purpose at what Mr. Snowflake calls Old Maid's house. Chantel streamed her trying to go get it, and then the guy refused to give it to her, so she called the police on him. He was also streaming at the same time, and he thought he turned the stream off, but he didn't. Or he had turned the camera off and muted, but he didn't, so you actually just heard the whole thing with the police. So there was both sides of this rescue.
Don't make me mad, because if you piss me off, give me my deleted video. Then I'll give you your CPAP. Your CPAP is broken. Remember when you stepped on it? I'm not leaving without it. Kim? He's pissing me off. So either the cops are going to come. He said to call the cops. The cops are going to come and let me get my medical device. Or he's going to fucking get it. I'm going to piss him off good.
Then there's Cuba Rage, which was Chantel blackout drunk in Cuba on vacation, just being horribly racist and bigoted. That's a common theme in a lot of these things as well. The moldy blue pot, which was this Dutch oven that Chantel cooked something in and left it in the fridge for like months, and it just got so infested. It was just like, you open it, it was just mold.
You do not want to look inside this pot right now. So I'm going to give you a minute to look away. Oh. Oh no. That's gotta go outside. It has spores.
Getting stuck in the US when crossing the border gets Sonic because she didn't follow the right COVID precautions. The stream where she shaves her head, another banger. And then I have this picture saved in my phone of her with a doily on her head that like I keep in my back pocket, I fear. Foodie was on and off with this guy until the middle of 2022, give or take. Eventually, he went from refusing to claim Foodie as like a partner to just like being like, I want nothing to do with you. So what ended up happening was when he started straight up ignoring her, Chantel hit the dating apps again. At this time, it felt that Chantel had a mission to make the situationship jealous by meeting men on Tinder and then talking about meeting them, hooking up with them on live stream, things like that. She's not hooking up with them on stream. She's talking about it on stream. I want to make that very clear. Now, how many of these were true? Anyone's guess. There was somebody she called Big Turk. There was like this really young guy. She allegedly traded a laptop for Schmitterschmors in Cuba. In terms of Tinder, the one guaranteed relationship that came out of that was with a man originally from Syria who lives in Kuwait named Salah Al-Rafiq. Apparently, what happened was Salah had Tinder on global, sent Chantel a rose emoji or something. She was ignoring him, and then he WhatsApped her, and that's what tied her in. Chantel launches hard launches this new boo via a video called My First Hijab, which Foodie tells us that she is now involved with a Muslim man, and she is completely changing her life and is more traditional, and that she'll be rocking a hijab from now on. Now take in what we were just talking about with the CPAP rescue and the shaving the head stream and whatever. Foodie Beauty has shown people on stream, the Yiddies, the Fupa, the whole nine. Foodie Beauty had an OnlyFans where she struggled to get out of a bathtub full of peeps. This is a 180 unlike anything I've ever seen in my life. That is why I keep saying Amber Lynn will never have anything on this woman, because it is genuinely so shocking how much things can just change. So then Chantal, about 2 weeks later, after this like hard launch, flies to Kuwait to get married. From here, they start what's called the Kuwait arc, Salah arc, whatever you want to refer to it as. And Chantal keeps trying to claim that she has residency in Kuwait, but somehow very conveniently disappears or pops up in another country exactly every 90 days. There's even a whole spreadsheet about it. Shout out to Del Pondu on Twitter. Del's got like 10 different names, something quesadilla, what have you. I have her Twitter on screen. Chantal was doing these visa runs essentially the whole time that she was in Kuwait. Honorable mention in this era, the Kuwait arc to what's called Poopgate, which is when Chantal came back to Canada for a visa run at Christmas, not even 1 week in, where she thought she might move there back to Canada permanently just to address her health and get some free healthcare. Chantal was streaming and things like that, and then it finds out via somebody sends her from Twitter, I would imagine, these messages of Salah. This girl named Kybella released all of these messages publicly where there's like Salah barking in her DMs, trying to convince her to fly to Kuwait to like more or less replace Chantal, asking her how much money she makes, sent feet pics, sent Salah Jr. pics. And there are so many videos on that out there, including I did a New Year's Eve stream coming into 2024 where I talk about it. So essentially all this is happening. But then the Kuwait arc officially ended around the 17th of June, 2025. And I'll explain how that happened in part 2. Part 2, Paws, Kuwait, and commentary. On May 28th, 2025, Chantal goes live with husband Salah, where they're eating this roasted chicken in a public park. Roasted chicken is just fried chicken, essentially. Something to note about Kuwait is that they have like a stray cat problem, kind of. So there's just an influx or just like too many cats that are always kind of roaming the streets. Chantal and Salah were giving tiny pieces of chicken to these cats, just that were kind of like sitting around them. And then Chantal kind of starts like chirping at this one particular cat. Now, we need to, before I continue this, I want to rewind to about 6 months earlier this year, more or less. I kept trying to find when this started. I looked on Twitter, I looked on everywhere but Kiwi Farms because I don't know how to navigate that and there's too much going on and I'm scared. So, somewhere between January and May, Chantal starts grifting on Maximum Overdrive by doing these things that she refers to as sponsored videos, where, and her videos are monetized, by the way, where you would pay to request a certain type of mukbang, and then she would do it for a fee on PayPal, and then she would put the video out on YouTube for everybody to see and then monetize that video. But this is because the Kuwait arc started getting really boring because it's really hot there. Plus, Chantal doesn't know anybody. Chantal just doesn't really do anything. So it was just constant like streams where she would just depend on the chat to talk to her. Nothing's going on, especially when we're coming off of a season with CPAP rescue, with the moldy blue pot, with the shaving of the head, etc., etc., etc. So her views were in the big time. So she needs to make more money. And there's also theories that Salah never did anything, so Chantal was just paying for him, so she had to support both of them. You could also pay Chantal to go on the treadmill, to go out and do something, just depending on how much money and how much she was willing to do it for. As well, about 4 months ago, to what I understand, Chantal started asking for donations, again via PayPal or Super Chat or what have you, but mostly PayPal, to get like supplies to feed cats in the streets of Kuwait. Kind of trying to be this like altruistic person. This in particular is the most relevant part going forward. So we circle back to the eating of the fried chicken. There was this one kitten that Chantal insisted was very ill and needed immediate medical attention. Chantal points to this kitten who is too young to be without their mother and quickly decides that the kitten is abandoned. Suddenly, someone super chats Chantal and says that they want to support her in taking the kitten in and taking the kitten to medical care. Suddenly, Chantal's face lights up because money, and requests help via PayPal to help this cat because the money immediately goes into her account as opposed to YouTube that it holds for about a month. And then also on top of that, on YouTube, they take 30%. From here, Chantel takes the cat to what people kind of put together is actually a veterinary pharmacy and not a real vet that literally looks like it was in a garage and there was only like 10 minutes or something like that. Then Salah comes back outside with the kitten and some medications. This live stream eventually ends, which throughout the entire time of that stream, people are urging and begging Foodie to put the cat back because it needs to be with its mother, and it wouldn't have survived this long if the mother was gone. And Chantel keeps just saying that she knows best or whatever, and she's acting very impulsively. The next day, there are some community tab posts. Community tab raging is like Chantel's side hustle at this point. So let's read some of these. You people so there's a comment and it says, "You are the most disgusting piece of crap ever. How dare you steal a tiny baby kitten away from its mom? You should not own any animal, you animal abuser. Go to hell." Chantel posts that and says, "You people like this are literally sick in the head. You are the animal abusers. If this kitten passes, it's on you. The vet said this kitten would have passed if we had not intervened. Evil people. The kitten had severe infections in its lungs and needs medicine. If it died," and also if I'm getting the community tabs in the wrong order, I tried my darndest, girl. Okay, there's so many of them. As long as we have an idea of what posts are coming, I pray that we are good enough on this timeline. "If it dies, it's the haters' fault because they mass reported me taking the kitten. That's why. And to avoid issues, I returned it. It had no choice. This is not Canada. Different laws. So haters would rather see the kitten back in the park and possibly pass away. It has a mom, yes, but even with having a mom, it was on the verge of death, as the vet said. It was several..." I want to add that Chantel didn't go to the vet. Salah went to the vet. So there's a lot of very specific details that I gather were not necessarily brought up. It was several infections and it was malnourished, so I know you think you did something with reporting, but all you're doing is putting the life of a kitten in jeopardy. Animal abusers. This is the last of speaking of this matter. Good night. Now, and then Chantel said, "Now the same people mass reporting for taking the kitten to get treated are now asking if I'm going to continue to get the kitten help or let it die in the street. LMAO, I can't. You made me return it. I'll try my best, but if something happens, that's on you." After this, the same day, May 29th, Chantel posted a 10-minute kitten update. So Chantel starts by summarizing the events of the park and everything. So the vet said the cat would die if she did not intervene, even though she never personally went to the vet. They went back to the park and found the mom, claimed the mom was also in bad shape. And when reunited, the cat started nursing right away. She said that the donation money will be used to take care of the kitten despite releasing it back into the park, and then plays a clip of them giving food and water to the mother cat. "We were impulsive taking the cat," is what she says, despite the fact that Salah kept being like, "This is not a good idea," and then calls people who criticize her evil and miserable for claiming that Chantel's an animal abuser.
Obviously, I'm sure if you look around YouTube, I am being completely villainized and called an actual monster for trying to save a kitten's life, which the vet had said would have died. None of you in Gore World are veterinarians, and it's really actually just really sad and disheartening, and it really honestly just prevents me from wanting to share anything like this. You know, if I'm going to get in trouble for trying to do a good thing, I will just keep that all offline. And yeah, I mean, it's just awful. So yeah, and absolutely 100% idiotic. But anyway, we all know what Gore World's like, so I'm not surprised. So
for context, Chantel has rehomed several cats in the past. One of them was further in her past, somebody brought up recently. And then there was BBJ and Sam. So Sam got rehomed with a foster, it seems, ended up keeping them. And then FFG, a reaction channel, conned Chantel into giving her BBJ because Chantel was trying to bring the cat to an end-of-life consultation and allegedly had kind of stopped feeding the cat so she'd be skinny to convince the vet to put the cat down. Now, that can be maybe somewhat debated to a certain degree. However, the shape of the cat was specifically preventable conditions. When FFG took BBJ to the vet for first assessment when she got the cat from Chantel, there's a vet record on FFG's community tab that you can read, and I can read in French, so like I read it for real. And it essentially said that there was like a urinary tract infection that they felt was preventable. that nails grown into the paws was preventable, mats so bad they had to shave her in certain areas, and just deemed that the cat was in a position of being highly neglected when they came into the vet. Also, on top of that, there's a theory that Chantal had some hamsters, or had a hamster when she was in Kuwait, but the cage is really, really tiny and seemed to be really filthy, and she would talk about often, like the hamster Howie, like getting out of the cage and running around the apartment. People theorized that she had a couple of different ones. Regardless, when Howie ended up passing away, they buried him in a hole on the beach, which is a little bit weird. Then we get to the cat in Kuwait named Julia. Chantal was just refusing to get spayed for a really long time until she started going in heat, and then it annoyed Chantal. And she would purposely stream in other areas, whether that be the pool or outside or whatever, so that she didn't have to like sit and listen to the cat whining and that people wouldn't get mad at her. She ends up getting Julia spayed and then just refuses to put a cone on her. And the stitches looked really infected, and she kept talking about how she was like licking. And there's images that looked like one of the stitches opened. I'm not going to post those because it's just really like sad for no reason. So this is kind of like the growing like theory, or this is like the evidence rather, for these animal abuser claims, which you'll hear a lot throughout this kind of whole saga. May 29th was particularly eventful because Kitty Love Kuwait, which is an animal rights organization, posted about taking the cats. And they posted, "I am not acquainted with Foodie Beauty, but I can confirm that she has no affiliation with Kitty Love Kuwait or Kitty Love Kuwait Adoptables. She has been requesting donations to support cat care. Please do not provide her any financial assistance on behalf of KLK. If you continue to see her post, please let me know. Thank you." So Chantal goes live talking about how the cat needs to be brought back and discusses her impulsivity. Spends a large portion of the live giving people shit for apparently reporting her to Kuwait authorities, forcing her to put the cat back. This is the same kind of vibe as those community tab posts I just read.
Why do I hate it? True. Hey, Jimmy. Did you donate, Suzanne? Why are you worried about it then? Not a single person who donated money asked for it back. The stuff that was donated through PayPal paid for the kitten visit and the meds and the food. So there's no other kitten, Spooky Stoner. What are you talking about? Thank you, Carrie. Why aren't you questioning why people have an issue with trying to help a dying kitten? Hey, Barbara. Like, what is the problem? It's so sad. I know. Drama fishing. Yes, exactly, Superboy.
On May 30th, Paws Kuwait enters the chat and posts that they have intercepted Bruce and Bruce's mom, and there was another kitten as well. Bruce is the name of the kitten that Chantal snatched up from the street, and that they're making sure the kitten and the kittens and the mom are brought to a good home. I think they said in the US. So then Chantal goes live in what is now quite infamous live, where Chantal talks about how she had to put the kitten back on the street because of the reports. Chantal also goes off about how upset she is that she can't speak her mind in Kuwait, and that she can't do it publicly as much as she wants because of the laws. Chantal starts messaging Chantal to like shut her pie hole, and then they start going back and forth on stream, and Chantal says she needs to leave the country.
For trying to be nice and help them. If it weren't for me, they even use my pictures on their page. They're not suing me because I'm not paying a dime. Like, I need to get out of this country, man. Like, insane. Which country villainizes people for trying to help? Like, what? Like, yeah, they use my pictures that I sent them initially, and then go check out the post. It's like, I'm gonna go get it. I'm not getting off. Don't tell me to get off. Of course, Nicole, you got dogs. Of course, these are the people who say that we're bad people. Do you see what I mean? Do you see how they are? How is it illegal? Like, for me to take the cat and people said they would help with money to bring him to the vet, but it's okay for that organization to ask for donations. Like, what? Shut up, Selena. I'm not mad they got rescued. Like, I seriously need to get out of here. I can't. Dr. Nicole is the worst bullying. Yeah, but we're the bullies, right? We're the bullies.
Then we get a bunch more community tab posts and more crashing out. I'll read those in a second, but first I'll read a statement from Paws Kuwait on May 30th that says, "Our rescuer, Sania, saved both a kitten and her mother together, so why did someone else take the kitten away from her stable, non-critical mother? If the goal was to truly help, why wasn't the mother taken too? Why wasn't any proper update?" This is translated from Arabic, so the grammar is going to be messed up. "Like a vet confirmation or hospital video shared. Instead of transparency, this turned into uncoordinated fundraising, while the actual rescuers who covered all the costs stayed silent. Helping is only meaningful when done legally, responsibly, and without confusion. Collecting donations for personal use is illegal. All donations must go directly to the vet, not individuals. We received too many messages to respond one by one, so the statement clarifies everything. The official complaint will be filed on Monday. and will share the case number and documents soon. Thank you to a dedicated lawyer for taking quick action against the YouTuber. Updates coming soon. Thank you for your support. So we talk about these community tab rages. Chantel posts, "You have to be kidding. The kitten's mother wasn't around." This is, she's posted like the post I just read in the community tab. "You have to be kidding. The kitten's mother wasn't around, and the vet we took the kitten to said if we hadn't brought him in, he would have died. Do you understand that? Second, if the mother is so stable, why the need for so much vet care, and why was the kitten malnourished and infected? It was fully transparent as we brought the cat to the vet live so the whole public saw it. We did not know it would be illegal to help a dying animal. My bad. What's really awful is penalizing someone for trying to help. Good luck with your case. You will need it. I offered to give your charity money, the money people gave me, but anyway, whatever, do your worst." And then, yeah, just more general crashing out. Then we get some more posts, and she says she's deleting the posts. May 31st, Paws Kuwait posts that Foodie's fans are sending the organization death threats. Then on June 2nd, Paws Kuwait files an official legal complaint against Chantel. June 2nd, another community tab post happens. It's June 1st, depending on your time zone. So this is the last post I'll make publicly about this matter. I am okay. Do not worry about that. First off, I don't in any way condone any Islamophobic threats to Paws Kuwait. I'm not intimidated by their threats either. We also have consulted a lawyer and will countersue as your public display is very unprofessional. And we have seen screenshots of you making fun of my way with the same haters you're listening to. This is very American-pilled, for Canadian especially. You can't really just sue like that in most countries. The law states that you cannot accept fraudulent donations. We have proved that we spent those donations on vet care and supplies. Also, I offered to refund, so also not a scam, since the people who super chatted said not to return them, but to use them for what I want. It is not possible for a person to know every single penalty code and law in a country. We were trying to do a good thing, and for those making it worse, you are disgusting human beings, and I hope you know that. Asking them to take Julia, on what grounds? She was not from street, and good luck. You will take her over my dead body. Good luck. I am taking a long break from social media, but just know I'm okay and not up to answering messages now. If trying to help a helpless animal is wrong, I don't want to be right. Also, nice job taking full credit for saving the cats. I'm the one who sent the pics in the case, but hey, whatever makes you feel complete. You are making this all public, which is also illegal to share private cases. The same trolls you were listening to only care so that they can try to get me in trouble. They are the same ones sending you threats and talking bad about Kuwait while I'm not intimidated. And then some stuff in Arabic at the bottom. We get another community tab. LMAO. LMAO, I know I'm taking a break, but I just heard the funniest song lyrics ever from the Guess Who. Don't give me no hand-me-down shoes, LMAO. And I didn't catnap anything. There is no law saying I can't adopt a street cat, and its mother wasn't there. When we saw she was, we returned it. Now we are never speaking another word on dealing with private, something I suggest Paws does. You really don't know when to shut the f*** up, do you? Nope. Sorry, but why should I? I'm being accused of something and wrongfully so. I will not shut up. Sorry, but I come from the land of freedom of speech. Canada does not have freedom of speech, by the way. Just an FYI. Okay, last post. Yes, the kitten was in need, and the vet told us that easy to prove. It was all live. You people are so... I'm not saying that word. I'm not responding to your dumbass comments. I swear you all share one collective brain cell. Then she sends this incredibly long one that I guess I'm going to have to read also. I said she crashes out on a community tab. Imagine this is your life. Look at this lonely bee salivating over this happening, overanalyzing potential legal repercussions for trying to help a cat. Repercussions that none of which will happen as usual. I think the ink from that awful, hideous forehead tattoo you have has warped your brain. I'm sorry, it's also just too hard not to clap back at these parasitic losers. Even if this was true, you think they're just going to throw a guilty verdict automatically? Lol, I can't. Okay, I'm done with this stupid bullshit. But I'm sure Paws will keep posting publicly about it for clout and to make an example. Another community tab post, prompted by concerns over fraudulent activity. So this is reacting specifically to when the legal case was released. First off, we did not start fundraising for rescue efforts. Paws is acting like we raised thousands for ourselves under the guise of helping animals. They're accusing us of scamming for donations. We saw a sickly looking kitten in 45-degree weather without its mom. Someone sent the first super chat without me even asking. I said we are on a tight budget, but if people want to help, I will take the cat and adopt it for us personally, and we will take it to the vet right away. The article below even says to avoid penalties, individuals can donate directly to vet care or for supplies or to an organization, which I did offer the money to Paws. If this is not allowed, they could have simply said so and that would have been that, but no. Because they want clout and applause for publicly persecuting, parentheses, trying to, someone who is only trying to do good deeds. Super chats are not fundraising, they are part of my job. They were sent for the kitten as I thought I would be adopting it, but because we got told to return the kitten, we did that. I then asked the people who gave the super chats if they wanted them back. They said no. 2 scammers offer money back. We received very few PayPal donations, which were used for the vet clinic, which you all saw on live. We have the test to verify also. So none of the intentions were fraudulent. We received PayPal for the vet care and food. We went that night to do it. The vet said the cat wasn't going to live much longer. We didn't say that. A medical professional did. So Paws is going to start this huge investigation over like 15 KD, which was used as we said it would be. Where's the fraudulent activity? LMAO. This is all such a joke. And it is not illegal to do YouTube content as a tourist in any country. If that were the case, explain travel vloggers. LOL, LOL. Unprofessional. Paws is also right off accusing us of malintent with the donations, asking why was the mother not taken. Maybe because the mother wasn't there at first. It's clear they just want to make this all for drama. We will fight any criminal investigation. Oh my god, it continues. Because I can assure you 15 KD of help money to help a cat from caring people is far from a scam ring, lol. And for people saying I buy food for myself, prove it. We literally bought cat food and vet care the day we received the donations. We have proof for this. We are well prepared. I didn't want to make another post, but I clearly needed to since I literally have to write out word for word for the idiots outraging and getting excited at the thought of me being detained and thrown in jail over 15 KD. Another post that says, now I'm being compared to Vitali, who literally purposely antagonized police and broke the laws knowing what he was doing. He didn't try to help a dying kitten. Big difference, morons. The haters just salivating with hard-ons, hoping a downfall or jail for someone so sad. Y'all need help. Anyway, ain't gonna happen, lol, because Foodie Beauty is very smug. Imagine being a supposed professional charity organization and you spend all day listening to trolls on the internet and running to file a case against someone for using donations they received to help a kitten in need and then threaten to go after an innocent family if they can't get me. Yup, nice professional behavior. And they wonder why anyone would want to flee. And then it ends with, yeah, I deleted my posts. Meant every word, I just don't want to give it attention. Impulsivity, bees. As usual. Gonna deal with the situation privately. Not sure when I'll make content. I'm tired of the internet. Even these posts, lol. Okay, I'm out. And that's the last you hear about Chantel for quite some time. June 9th brings kitten updates, and July 11th brings the extended filing against Chantel with claims of things such as debauchery and filming oil fields in Kuwait on top of the charity scam part of it. June 16th, posts come out questioning the validity of Paws just from Kiwi Farms and Twitter users. After this, people who are typically outside of Girl World began picking up the story. Drama YouTuber Dustin Daly posted a poem about Chantel on Twitter. YouTuber Tozy made a video about Chantel talking about like her history with cats and the whole Paws Kuwait involvement. And as well, YouTube lawyer Legal Mindset did a stream diving into the world of Chantel and talking about the case and the predictions on if she would get deported, extradited, etc. And then this was being reviewed as more legal documents began to get released. On June 17th, Paws talks about submitting the complaint, just like on Instagram. And they also were sending these screenshots, and they were sending stuff to this Twitter user as well. But seemingly after that, nothing else really happens until now. Part 3, Foodie Beauty's return. So there has been non-stop chaos since Chantel returns. Before the 17th of June, there were some Twitter sleuths that noticed that Chantel had put out a couple cameos around June 11th, June 12th-ish. And they looked at the stitching of like the seat that she was in and noticed that it was matching the Mitsubishi SUV that her mom has. Which, when a drunk driver completely totaled my GTI, my Golf GTI, I had a Mitsubishi SUV, really living my Chantel fantasy, despite the fact that I hated it. I was beezing, you know, when I was driving around that little thing. I had a Mitsubishi RVR, I think, at the time, for like 2 weeks or something. After that, on June 17th, Chantel goes live from a small apartment in Cornwall, Ontario. In the live, Chantel's unpacking and just opening packages from the dollar store. Talks about how Salah and Julia left the country as well, that they're safe. confirms that the Kuwait arc is over and cannot go back because I'm not going to jail over some bullshit verbatim.
I'm not going to go back to Kuwait, so no, I'll visit him somewhere else. I'm not going back to Kuwait because I don't want to risk anything. Thank you. I like my freedom. Like, I don't want to be why would I stay? Well, if you're not guilty, why don't you stay? No. I'm not getting locked up on some bullshit. Yoink, bye. I think I put on like a Hekate's daughter stream and like packed all night, and just like, I can't tell you how heartbroken my heart is that I left my husband and cat. I know, but she is very safe. We're not abandoning her.
Talks about the hate online and people being bloodthirsty while she's gone. She streams for like 6 hours, so I'm just giving you very brief highlights. Says she's Muslim with or without Salah. On June 18th, Legal Mindset goes live again talking about Chantel. And then on June 19th, Foodie Beauty posts, community tab posts confirming that Salah and Julia have left the country, with pictures of Julia in a carrier going to the airport. And she's also talking about that she will be adopting a new cat, even though she just moved into this apartment on the 17th. She might have talked about this as early as the 18th, actually. And she was getting a new cat, which was an obese tabby cat named Smokey, who conveniently looks very similar to Pete's cat that passed away due to Pete's neglect, named Timbit. June 20th, Smokey comes in and lives in the apartment with Chantel. Chantel is having bonding issues with this cat, it seems. And apparently, because I don't know much about cats, I grew up with 2 cats, but I was young when they were young, if that makes sense. So like, my parents we had one cat we got in 2004, another one we got in 2006. They both passed away. The younger one passed away in 2023, I want to say. The other one passed away in 2020. They said that you could see Smokey, the cat that Chantel just adopted, spraying everywhere in the apartment. Also, I just remembered, just like Mika lore piece, the cat that I had from 2004, his name was Pork Chop. I had Pork Chop and I had Gordon. Gordon was based off of the character in Cat Scratch. Then, June 22nd, Chantel goes live saying that she needs to rehome Smokey because it's just not a good fit. And people are enraged because they were telling her just not to get a cat when she announced a couple days before that she was planning on getting the cat anyway. Then June 22nd, when she's talking about this, FFG comes live and makes a deal with Chantel that she will give her a hoopty, which means like a just dog like $2,000 like beater car, which genuinely, I don't even know how you could possibly, like, I'm gonna look at Facebook Marketplace, hold on. We got a 2010 Kia Soul, $1,800. Does it work? Okay, so yeah, I guess you could get. I was like, I have not seen a car below 4,000 in a long time. Oh my God, there's a Fiat 500. Okay, I gotta stop looking. Anyway, so then they DM, apparently. On the 24th of June, my birthday, Chantel goes live, talks about the deal that FFG tried to give to her and just says like, FFG wouldn't update me. So when FFG nabbed BBJ, for lack of a better term, FFG did not keep the cat herself. She gave it to one of her friends. And then she updated the community when the cat was like situated, when it was like healed and everything like that. But then after that, FFG's like, I don't want my friend in this. Like, this is not their problem. So then Chantel keeps being like, BBJ update as like an own, despite the fact that Chantel's the one that neglected the cat to like near death. Which also, like, BBJ is like 20 years old. Like, if BBJ passed away, they passed away like healthy and happy, not with your ass. Stuff aside, they're like chill. Anyway, and then Chantel's like, I want like consistent Smokey updates, despite the fact that if she rehomes the cat to anyone else, it's not happening. Then images circulate of this like Facebook group post from the Cornwall area of someone getting an email from someone named Chantel that says, I found this really obese gray cat on the street and he needs to be rehomed because I'm leaving the country in a couple of days. So then everyone's telling them like, hey, she's lying. She adopted this cat impulsively and is trying to dump him on you. We don't hear much about that. They say they want to help them. But then as of this morning on Chantel's community tab, she announces that she has privately rehomed Smokey already. Now, when Chantel was talking about rehoming Smokey, circa the 22nd-ish, people were doxing her address and contacting her landlord because she was ripping bongs, it seems, and smoking weed in her apartment. And she had a cat in there, and the listing said no pets and no smoking. Now, apparently in Ontario, you can't evict on those grounds. Somehow, she's literally said, like, I'm moving out of that apartment. So in 9 days of Chantal being back on the internet, she's moved into an apartment, gotten a cat, gotten all of her shit pissed on, rehomed the cat, and become homeless. After evading authorities in Kuwait on debauchery, fraudulent charity charges, and filming oil fields. But because Chantal didn't go to jail in Kuwait, she keeps saying that, like, she won. And is being, like, super smug. Girl, I win because I don't wake up every day being your ass. Genuinely. Now, I've rambled for 40 straight minutes on this timeline. I forgot to add one part because it was developing as I was filming and it was kind of confusing. But what essentially had happened with Smokey before Chantal privately rehomed him was that she apparently emailed some sort of animal charity in Cornwall. I also want to mention that when she got Smokey, she put an Amazon wishlist to buy him stuff and grifted her PayPal again, which is crazy because she just evaded, like, deportation for that. But anyway, so she sent him an email, she sent the charity an email rather, just kind of saying, like, lying her ass off to try to kind of make it, like, seem that it was different circumstances so they would more urgently take the cat off of her hands. So it reads as the following. Hi there, I have an urgent matter. I found a cat, very obese, but very, very friendly cat on the street, and I'm leaving the country in a couple of days. It says I have to fill out a form, but can you please urgently make an exception to shelter him? He will die on the streets. I've spent time trying to rehome him myself, but nothing. Thanks. Now, obviously, rehoming means he had a home with you, so that's already not lining up, but anyway. I also want to add, as of today, specifically June 29th, Foodie Beauty streamed that she has moved out of the apartment and now she seems to want a road trip through Texas or something, even though relations between the US and Canada I don't think have been worse in our entire country's history. So that's that's the life of Foodie Beauty as of 9:06 p.m. June 29th. Thank you very much. So that's where I'm going to end the video. To conclude, we've given a brief summary of Chantal, BB era, Schmammy era, because I can't talk about them. Ugh, cringe. Anyway, and the Kuwait arc. Talked about the history of the cats and everything like that. Then we get to the Paws Kuwait debacle of snatching the kitten up off the street, charges, leaving the country, leaving her husband, leaving her cat, and then what the last 10 days or so have been with Chantal being in Canada. Now, of course, you'll get another sad cat update. You've seen it already if something else has happened crazy while I was editing this video. But with that, I hope you all have an amazing day, and I'll see you when I see you. Bye.
It's very clear to me at a lot of social situations that a lot of people are not feeling the pressure I feel, which is that if it gets quiet, it's my responsibility to fix it.